So guys, Belle.
Was that your intro?
No.
She's gonna do that for every single episode.
Just wait for it, guys. But Belle, when we were first thinking about making this podcast,
Yeah, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much. And if you didn't know, but you probably know by now, you are our first guest in our SOLÁ pod. And when we were thinking of this concept, the SOLÁ team and I were thinking who to guest first. And we only had one person on our list. We had Belle Daza,
Yay.
actor, celebrity, founder of Jellytime.
Thank you.
I'm just so intrigued about Jellytime.
Yes.
Tell me about it. Like, why Jellytime? Why the industry? And like, what made you want to start it?
I'm so glad you've asked me that question. First of all, congratulations, because to commit to a podcast is definitely a lot of work, but also a lot of fun. So your team here, they look excited. And, you know, I'm so honored to be your first guest. And I hope people listen. Guys, please listen to this podcast. Okay?
We're about to go through the whole ups and downs of it.
Yeah, I'll give you tips then behind the scenes.
I'm gonna ask you later, like, what should we do better?
Yeah.
Again?
So Jellytime is a sexual wellness and sexual health company that my sister and I started because back then, my sister and I are very close, and she gave me lubricant. And I was like, what's this?
So when did she give you?
Siguro mga 2017 or 2018.
Okay.
2018 for sure.
Okay.
And then I said, what's this? I don't know how to use it. Sabi niya, you use it when you have sex. And I was like, what do you mean? And then she had to demonstrate how to use it. You know, you apply it in your hands and then you rub it there.
Did she demonstrate by herself?
By herself. She wasn't naked. She just, you know, it's kind of like makeup tips, but lube style. Okay. And then I was like, at first, hindi ko pa ginamit. I thought, you know, what is it? I don't need it. And then one time, I used it. And it was like a light bulb moment because it was so enjoyable and I loved it. So from then on, I was a convert to lube. Okay. Now, I asked her, is there anything that is clean? Is there anything, because you don't really know what's in this lube. There's parang a lot of chemicals, diba? And if we're conscious about what we put in our bodies when we eat, definitely when we're intimate, when we have sex, we have to be conscious of that too because it goes in our bodies, right? And she said, there's nothing out there. I've been looking. So I go, maybe I can order online. Maybe I can source abroad. But ang tagal ng shipping, we didn't really find much to our standard. So we said, why don't...
matagal yung shipping.
Yeah. So we said, why don't we create something for us? She said, that seems parang impossible. I said, let's just try. So we decided to come up with a formula. I think it was end of 2018. It was so difficult. My sister pa went to the manufacturing places. And then we went through several iterations. I'm sure with SOLÁ, you guys are the same. Diba? When you R&D things, the fit, you have to see, okay, ano bang bagay for the Filipino or for our needs.
It took around like 6 to 8 months for us.
Exactly. Okay, so for us, it was even more rigorous because it had to be FDA approved. And when you go through that, it's at least 1 year. So you're perfecting the formula for 1 year and then you have this approval of 1 year. And then finally we launched it and people were so shocked by what we were producing. They were like, are these girls doing? It's so, I don't know if it was vulgar or bastos and stuff, but we wanted to create a safe space to talk about sex, to talk about our bodies, and to learn about pleasure, right? Yeah. So that's why we created Jellytime, because we wanted to empower people on having safe and satisfying sex.
I love it. Do you think it stemmed from the fact like the culture here is relatively a conservative
Very
culture?
Conservative, yes. I'm sure you know that, Nama.
For sure.
We don't talk about sex at all, especially growing up. What was your sex education like growing up here?
Close to non-existent and
Diba?
Probably high school, but very briefly.
And with your friends, right?
Yeah, and like we would talk about it. It would be taboo.
I'm sure you have a friend who got pregnant also.
I have many friends in Baguio who got pregnant
at
early.
a young age.
Yeah.
Ako rin, I have friends who got pregnant at a young age. One, because they didn't know, yun pala, from sex you can get pregnant. I mean, it seems so basic. It's the truth. And here in the Philippines, actually one of the studies is, you know what the average age of unwanted pregnancies is in the Philippines? 14. Okay, you know, amazing. Yeah, so...
Because there are a lot in Baguio. I think it happens mostly in rural areas, not
Exactly.
so because there is no family education or there is no, I don't know, allotment towards it.
Yes,
Diba?
exactly. So you were well aware of that. So why is that? And World Health Organization released a study that, do you know the only thing that can help alleviate a family from poverty? Not by doubling the income of the man and the woman. Ha? Kunyari, you're a family, tapos may anak kayo na dalawa. It's not for to have a double income household. It's just by educating women on how to space out pregnancies. Yun lang ha.
I find that so interesting.
You don't even have
who
to.
knew?
Yeah, you don't even have to make them not have pregnancies. Just space it out para may time to plan your life.
Exactly.
So
that's very interesting.
Yeah. So one of my missions in life is really to have sex education within our Dep Ed. And this is going to be controversial because we already kind of have it, and there's a lot of things happening right now. But one is the age-appropriate sex education, right? Because people are going to say, ay, tinuturuan mo yung mga bata kung paano mag-sex. Hindi naman ganun. Sex education is about our bodies, right? Learning about our period, learning about, why when men are at a young age, they get, boners. What does that do? It's all kind of medical and scientific facts. So if you look at it, hindi naman bastos, oy, tinuturuan mo sa. It's more of like, we all have breasts. We have penises or vulvas and things like that. And so what is it about our bodies? How do we learn about our bodies and how do we keep ourselves safe?
True.
Yeah. So Jellytime's big kind of advocacy is we're going to be launching a foundation that teaches people about sex education that's age appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm actually not shocked, but when I meet people and we talk about this, they're like, yeah, like I have a kid. I don't know how to tell him, this and that, learning about our bodies. So yeah, it all stems from this whole mission and vision on how to educate here in the Philippines.
Don't you think it's also the culture, or someone needs to be pushing sex ed in the curriculum? Because let's say I also want to push mental health in the curriculum.
Yes.
You don't see sex ed. You also don't see mental health.
100%.
Diba?
I agree with you. Like mental health is just as important as sex ed. It is less taboo now.
Agree.
Yeah. Sex ed is like, people are very against it because of our Catholicism. And it's not to, demonize our religion. It's actually just to see how we can work together. Because at the end of the day, we want to educate and protect our children and ourselves.
And because it's such an important part of life.
Yeah, and it's a known fact na pag hindi natin pinag-uusapan about sex, wala tayong natutunan, and people get pregnant and we have these unwanted pregnancies, and then at a young age, wala na, ang hirap na ng buhay, di ba? If you look at the countries like Norway and Denmark, they learn it at a young age.
I think I asked my friends and they learn it at 10 years old.
Yeah.
10, exactly. 9 years old. They learn how to put on a condom at 10.
Yeah. And you think, oh my gosh, tinuturuan natin. But again, to reiterate, it's educating and empowering people. Like we had Will Dasovich on the podcast, and our podcast, and he was saying that because he learned it in the States, he didn't do it because he learned you can get pala diseases when you do it, right?
Okay, interesting.
Diba?
No, I agree. The more you know about something, the more you're educated, whether you do it or you don't do it.
Exactly.
Right? Tell me about this. Let's say in SOLÁ, we have product development. We test we test the shapewear, we test the new collections.
Yeah. The different colors also.
The different colors. How is product development with Jellytime? Like, how is, like, do you film? Is it like tested, or like how
is it? How do we come up with products? Okay, that's a really good question, and I would love to share this. My sister and I, we go to fairs. Okay. There's one in Hong Kong. There's one in China.
Is it called like a sexual
health? Yes, like sexual health and wellness fair. So sometimes it's a bit shocking because the products they have are like, oh, you'll never see that. But we try to narrow in on where we see Jellytime in the next 5 years, right? We really want to be the number one sexual health and wellness company in the Philippines, especially targeted towards women.
Okay.
So what are women's needs? And as we grow in our sexual health journey, the Jellytime grows with us, right? So we have these products. For example, we have personal vibrators.
Now you entered the sex toy industry.
Yes.
Which I find, especially here in the Philippines,
very bold.
Very, very bold. Like, how do you also come up with these ideas? And I'm also curious, like, how do your friends and family around you see it? Like, are they happy about it? Or?
I think we're at a day and age in our lives right now in careers that they know. Well, first, a lot of them are kind of like a bit shocked. Still, it's the culture about, oh my God, you're selling sex toys and stuff like that. But then when we give them the toys, when they try it, they come to us, they're like, I'm a convert. Okay, don't tell ganito, but I love ganito.
I love it.
Yeah, so they embrace it because it's just that shame linked to sex and sexual health that we want to break. We want to stigmatize. Actually, one of my titas in Australia said that her OB-GYN, part of premenopause, perimenopause, and menopause is using a vibrator because that helps stimulate your hormones and also helps you sleep. So when we talk about it and we look at it in a scientific way, it's just facts. You know, it's not in a way that's very taboo and vulgar. When they say, you know what, this actually can help you sleep better, or this can actually help your hormones because you have hot flashes, try it. Then it's like, oh, this is a device that will benefit me, you know, my whole body. But definitely my friends are, some friends are very, very pro it. Like they use Jellytime for bachelorette parties, for weddings, for Christmas
I
gifts.
can imagine it's
They're
used
like
a lot
shouting.
for like bachelorette parties.
Yeah, and if you want to stir up like a dinner or even just a company party, give a vibrate and people will be like, oh my God, ano to? Tapos pero happy naman
but
sila.
they're gonna use it.
Yeah, pero happy naman sila. So we wanted to create something that was non-intimidating, approachable, and also educate people how to use it and why it's good for you. Because we all want pleasure.
No, that's so true.
Yeah.
As a founder, how do you define success? Like, when did you know Jellytime was a success?
Oh, that's a good one. Let me think about it. When did I know Jellytime was a success? Well, I think we're still trying to get there. My sister was very discouraged when people would tell her, why are you doing that podcast? Why are you selling sex toys? She just felt so embarrassed in the beginning. And I said, we're trying to change the behavior. It's not going to be easy.
Love it.
Because, you know, if we wanted to do something easy, everybody's doing it. So how do you change the mindset of breaking down barriers and really doing something that will have a positive effect on the next generation? So having the podcast, the Sexy Time podcast, we encourage people, you know what? In your next dinner party or the next time you meet with friends, share something about your sex life. And it doesn't have to be so intimate, but just break down that barrier. Is this okay? And we get so many fan mail. We get so many messages from people writing to us, asking us for help because their partners don't want to go see a doctor if they have a problem. Just to answer your question, how do I know that I've reached success? I don't think we've reached success. I think we're definitely still climbing this ladder. But when we meet people and they say they use our products, they love it, they listen to our podcast.
That's a success for you.
That means so much to us. It means the world to us. And it's so cliche, but that's the reason why we do what we do.
No, so true. But also that's what I like about you. And I think your personality's always been the same. You're very opinionated, like very strong. And for a Filipino or for someone who looks at someone like that, or just for example, that me, when I'm open about, let's say I went through depression or my journey, then the more people are more open to share.
Yeah.
What
and
they
can connect with you.
Exactly. And I feel like talking about sex is also the same. Like when you open up about your sex life, then more people will open up their sex life.
And also it doesn't only have to be about your sex life. It could be about your marriage, your partnership. It could be about being with a narcissistic partner or, you know, somebody. Honestly, we've been trying to look for a resource for domestic violence, but we've had 2 people say no because they're just so scared. So these are the effects of, you know, we want to educate people that domestic violence is actually a real problem that people are having a hard time overcoming because of the fear. So that, yeah. I'm sure you also know because you're an advocate for mental health.
Mental health.
Yeah.
Domestic violence is also a big one. I think also it's here, the culture,
we tend to make excuses, I guess.
Especially for women.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
So hopefully we can inspire it's like our
them.
fault.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like also something I want to change.
Yeah.
What has been like a biggest challenge so far? And if I'm not mistaken, you also have a few other businesses.
Yes. Well, so for Jellytime, One of the biggest challenges is like before we wanted to put up a store in this mall and they're like, sorry, this is a family mall. You can't put it up. I'm like, how do you think families are made?
Honestly, I think I know which mall is this because we also got the same reply.
Yeah.
Because we also had a pop-up and I think we also had
pop-up, same, yeah.
A pop-up. You wanted a pop-up too?
Yeah. And they were like, this is a family mall. I'm like, well, this is how families are made through safe lubricant. But so there are companies that look at our company and think we want nothing to do with this sexual wellness brand. Like it's sex, it's off limits, right? So that's why we want to change that culture. Na parang, why is it off limits? We're not trying to be totally, like we're not being very bastos or vulgar. We're trying to teach it in a way that people receive it and understand that it's empowering to learn about your body. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're learning about. Sorry, am I talking too much?
No, please.
Yeah. I want to ask you, what about SOLÁ? Like, how did you start it? And what was the idea behind it?
So, well, I wanted to have my own business.
Yeah.
And then we were trying to look for, let's say, what business would best suit you and what business wasn't there yet. So it was very strategic in a way with SOLÁ.
Yeah.
Like, no, we figured there wasn't really a company that was doing shapewear in the Philippines.
That's affordable.
That's affordable
because
and
there's
good
Spanx.
quality.
Pero ang mahal ng Spanx.
There's Spanx. There's also Skims, but you also need to pay for the
shipping, the taxes,
the customs taxes, and mahal.
Yes.
So we couldn't find, and we ordered everything, TikTok, Shopee, Lazada, and we ordered everything, and there wasn't anything at par with what we wanted to. So we decided to create our own, but I also like fashion. So I wanted it to be fashionable outside and also inside.
I'm wearing it as a
quality. Top. Thank you so much. She's wearing the
I'm
hugging
obsessed
collection.
with it.
Thank
Seriously.
you.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much.
What are the struggles? Naging podcast ko. What are the struggles you come? Setting up SOLÁ. What was your biggest first challenge?
I think it was trying to find the right people.
Okay.
Imagine you're a beauty queen and then actor and then I want to start a business.
Yeah.
You don't have the right people or the team around you. I think that was one of the hardest things, trying to find the right people or the
right partners.
The right partners. Thankfully, I have amazing partners, the best partners. But it was trying to find the team.
Building the team.
What about you?
No, even for in business, one thing I learned the hard way is...
What is something you learned the hard way?
Yeah. So in business, when it comes to business and investments, finding the right partners that you can trust.
Trust is very important.
People will always come out and say, look, this is what I achieved. You know, I've been in the business for 20 years, ganon.
And when someone does that to me, parang umatras ako kasi, I don't know, like I'd rather see it than spray it, you know, like.
Yes. Yeah. Like walk the talk. So for me, I had to learn that the hard way because their resume on paper always looks great. And then when you're in it already and you have these problems, hindi pala sila capable of solving them. You know, for people listening, when you set up a business, you need to trust your partners and you also need to have transparency on the finance.
That's a very important aspect because you can build a business, but what is a business if it's, let's say, not profitable or if it's not money?
Yeah.
Which I'm also learning now and thankfully.
I mean, I think you start a business wanting it to be profitable, but a lot of the times it's very difficult and it's break even. It's not to
so true.
Discourage you, but you need to journey on and you also need to have a plan. So what happens is when we have businesses, sometimes wala tayong plan, like shucks, we're below, how are we going to pay the payroll or how are we going to pay the marketing and stuff? There's no plan of action. There's no 5-year plan. So my husband, kasi he teaches us that, like, yes, your business can be losing money in the first, second year, but the third year, dapat bumabawi na. So I don't know. Honestly, I didn't study business. I'm just a talent. So just get me na lang as a talent.
Honestly, no, but I'm the same. How do you deal with failure?
Okay. First, I'm very bitter. And then I blame everyone else on why it failed. I'm like, kasi ganito eh. This person wasn't good. Yung sales namin hindi ganito.
And then you find someone else to blame.
Yeah, exactly. So I point my finger at everyone except me. And then that's denial. And then after a while...
I also go through a denial phase. And then I push it. And then I'm like, fuck, I failed.
Exactly.
And then you maneuver somewhere else. Okay,
well,
so how do you do it?
So I denial, and then I'm very angry. I'm like pissed at everyone, and then I like say bad things. This is like the truth, huh?
So it's like going through a breakup.
It's like going through death, denial, bargaining, anger, ganon. And then after I've reflected and I've accepted that it was failed, then I think, okay, what did I do wrong that I can improve on my next one? Because I need to, if you make the same mistakes, then you're not growing as a person.
For sure.
But if you understand where you're lacking, because it takes two rin naman, then at least you learn from that. So yun, I point out my mistakes. I said, I should have had a contract. I've given investments where I didn't have a contract.
Okay.
And so, ang tanga-tanga ko, diba? Why would you give money na walang contract? I was young. I was callous with money. When you're young, when you don't have kids, you don't have responsibilities. You're like, here, take my money. You're naive, right? And then you also trust. You trust people so much. You're like, no, I know
that
this person.
That was also a fault of mine. Well, sometimes even now I trust people. No, now not so. Of course, when you're younger, you trust people so easily.
Yeah.
You're a bit naive, but now...
Basta don't trust anyone, guys. Just trust yourself.
Just trust yourself.
Totoo.
And your instincts.
Yeah.
Actually, my
partner.
Do you have mentors?
Yeah, I do. I have naman. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, like my partner is also into business.
Yeah.
So he's the one I listen to also financials and stuff because we are girls and
yeah,
that's not our
girl
strong.
math.
We girl math things, but I feel like it's not our strongest suite. So I feel like it's also important to get people who compliment you on the things you're not good at.
Yeah, and one thing that you should know is you don't have any shame in asking for help.
That's so
if you
true.
don't know something, just ask for help. Don't pretend. Because that's more shameful na kunwari, yeah, I know this, P&L, expenses.
Oh my goodness.
God, yeah.
When they talk about P&Ls, my brain
shuts off.
But when they talk about marketing, that one I'm good at. I have to say marketing, but like numbers is not my...
There's no shame in that. Diba? There's honestly, just say it. Like, yeah, I'm not good in
But that's why you have a team,
numbers.
guys, to do the things you are not good at.
Yeah. I think it's important when you start a business also to be self-aware of ano yung mga kaya mo, diba? And also understand your time. I can give X number of hours to this because after that, I'm taking care of my kids or I have an event and I have other things to do. So your commitment is really in line with how successful or where you want your business to go. Because if you're not committed to it, why did you start it? You're going to delegate. So all of that I learned in like 10 years. I'm 36 now. And I've had multiple businesses, multiple failed ones. And I always take it as a learning experience, even if masakit.
I'm curious, how does Adrian guide you through this?
Adrian is like an amazing supporter. I'm so lucky that I have him because he just supports me in every way. Even if mali yung ginagawa ko, parang makamot na ng ulo niya. He's like, you know what? Sige, make that mistake.
You.
Exactly. No, he won't even say I told you. He's so sweet. He won't say I told you. He'll just be like, okay, how do we get over this?
Okay.
Which is so sweet, diba? But I think he's mature. I'm not like that. When he makes mistakes, I'm like, I told you, and then I list down all of his wrongdoing.
Because this is that. If you just told me what I did, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does he help you in business? Like,
yeah.
Is he? Let's say now, is he involved in Jellytime, or does he help you on the back end?
So I think he's very much in the back. He'll just give advice here and there, but definitely not a day-to-day thing. I ask him his opinion on the products that we're going to be launching, and he is so good at asking me questions like, "What is your USP?" I'm like, "What was USP? Unique selling proposition." Yeah, proposition. So
we learned something
exactly. And then I have to like defend it, parang thesis paper. I'm like, this is why Jellytime is going to be successful because in 7-Eleven and in Watson's, there's nothing like it. It's really cute. It's clean formula. It's targeted towards women's pleasure. It's very for safety it's safe and satisfying. So he is the one that is my parang devil's advocate.
Okay, yeah. I get it. Like,
does your partner also help you?
Yes, and he also asked me the best questions. But like when I feel pressured, I'm like, don't you just get it?
Yeah. We just get pissed.
Yeah, don't you just get it? Like, because it's nice, it's pretty.
Yeah.
try to understand
like
it.
the USP
Because
is it's cute.
it's cute.
And the
Girls will
packaging is
like
cute.
it.
Yeah. By the way, the packaging is so cute.
Thank you so
I'm obsessed.
much.
Who did the packaging? You guys did it together?
We just did it because we figured out AI would be like a big thing now, and it still is.
Yeah.
So we just did it ourselves.
I love it.
We-
the SOLÁverse with the planets. Yeah. Last week they were like the planets aligned. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened during the planets aligned?
Wala lang. It's just like something. I used an app and it was really cool to see. Just sidetrack. But anyways.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, so both of our partners help us. I think we're so lucky in that sense because
that's
we're
so
able to ask them advice. And then now kasi there's so many resources. Like when we started, wala pang chat GPT.
No.
Ngayon with chat GPT, you just input it there, boom. It'll give you ideas how to go with, search engine optimization and things like that.
You have the cutest.
Do I?
Yes, super.
They're right.
Okay, I know.
Balti.
Balti.
Yeah, and then
Valentine.
and then Esmeralda.
Esmeralda. Because I used to work with your mom, and she used to show me like videos of them.
I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. My mom will literally corner anyone to show her photos of her kids.
my mom. Your mom will literally ask you. Yeah.
Sometimes
she's the best though. She's so funny.
Sometimes I send her like private videos, and then the next thing I know, it's on Instagram. I'm like, if you guys want to see my life unfiltered, just go to my mom's Instagram. Seriously, she edits her reels herself. It's like,
oh my god, really? I love her workout reels. By the way, we're gonna link
it's
it.
like weird, like sexual. Like, mom, what are you doing? But go for it. Empowering her in her 70s.
How do you balance being a mother and handling a business and maintaining a relationship? How do you balance everything?
You know what? I'll be honest. It's not balanced. Sometimes, like now, I'm here at work. So my kids are like left in Hong Kong. My daughter's, at home in Ava's place with her cousins. So I think Shonda Rhimes talk about this. Like, it's really hard to be a mom, a wife, and then also have a business and have work. Because if you're doing something really, really well, it means there's one part of you that's slacking.
I agree.
Diba?
I love this girl. Do you know Emma Grede?
Okay, no.
She is like the co-founder of many of the Kardashian businesses.
Okay.
Skims, Good American. And she talks about this thing where, like what you said, once you focus on something has to give. Like you have to sacrifice
one thing
for another.
Yeah.
Do you feel it's like that with you?
I definitely feel it's like that. And I don't want to sell this lie of like, I'm an amazing mom all the time and I'm a super committed business partner and I'm also, a wife and partner. There's definitely something that suffers, and I think that that's okay because life is a balancing act. You're always trying to find where the fine line is. Sometimes, like my husband and I haven't had a date night in a month and a half to 2 months. We're both quite busy with work. And then when we aren't with work, we want to focus on the kids. And then when we're not at kids, we're back at work. So we don't find time for ourselves. So I'll be honest, like that part of my relationship is suffering, right? We don't have any quality time. But then again, when I'm here in the Philippines, I have to focus on all the things I need to do. And then, so my kids are left behind. So then I feel guilty as a mom. I posted this one time that, I'm always anxious about work. I want to be at work when I'm with my kids. And then when I'm at work, I'm thinking, shucks, how are my kids? How's the update? So yeah, it's really difficult to balance. And I don't think my life is balanced. I just think that I have a lot of help. Tiny is my assistant and she literally organizes my life and I couldn't live without that. And then I have also my yaya and my other helpers.
Would you say you're an organized person? Because I'm not.
You're not?
I'm
but
not.
then you know what? That comes with your creativity.
I would honestly like to think so. Messy people are the happiest. That's what they say.
Yeah, and it's okay. Like, you also don't have kids yet. So when you have kids, yan na yun. Parang military, your organization. I'm just the secretary of my kids, actually. That's my real job.
But don't you think because, let's say, we live in the Philippines and we've had so much help around us our whole life, don't you think, let's say compared to, let's say, Scandinavian countries where they do everything themselves, to cook, to clean, to laundry.
I don't know how they do it.
They're more independent.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to be as independent as them. Yeah, but it's true. I think we all need help to raise kids or to have a family or just in general, like setting up this podcast. It's a lot of work, right? So, and that's okay.
How do you find time for yourself? Like, what are the things you do to, let's say, get back to yourself?
Yeah, that's a good one. My morning routine is very precious to me.
Are you a morning person?
I'm a morning person.
Okay.
So I like to wake up very early, sometimes 5:30, 6 a.m.
Oh my goodness.
I do my workout for 1 hour. And then when I'm done with my workout, this is so cheesy, but I've been doing it for like 6 years already. I write on my journal.
Oh, no, I love it. I write, but at night.
Yeah.
I journal at night. Like, I feel like I need it.
Yeah, super. I write on my journal 3 things that I'm grateful for. So it's very simple. Like, I'm grateful that I landed safely in the Philippines today with my kids. Via sa bupak. Or I'm grateful that I had a good lunch today with my mom. And then I'm grateful that I have help like Tiny and Yaya to take care of my kids while I'm at work. So 3 things that really centers me and makes me have a perspective on life that even if I don't have a Cartier watch, I'm grateful for these things. And then I write 3 manifestations down. Like
a Cartier watch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I will do my event. You know, I will do a great job hosting this event. I will perform on this podcast, or I will have a lot of fun doing this podcast. I will pay off all my bills. And then that really kind of grounds me and helps me get my mind to focus and understand that these were my priorities and these are what makes me happy. And my life is kind of centered around that. Does it make sense? But I think having a grateful list really helps you understand what is important in your life and what makes you happy.
Like your outlook in life, or you just basically it's like your goals.
Yeah, you're exactly. And sometimes when we're scrolling, kasi on TikTok, on Instagram, like people now they're scrolling, they're like, oh, bakit wala ako sa Maldives, or I don't have that bag.
Like, are you guilty of just scrolling and
super? Yeah,
I that's one thing
I can scroll for hours.
Me too. That's something I want to change. And like I feel like sometimes it's my dopamine hit, which is really, really bad, that I'm trying to change.
But it's also part of your work.
It is. Like,
so there's a blurred line.
I would like to call it I'm drawing inspiration, but I'm just scrolling. But sometimes I do draw inspiration, but I don't know. Like, that's something I want to stop. Is that something you're guilty of too?
I don't know if I want to stop it. I definitely want to limit the time I am mindlessly scrolling. If I'm doing something with intention, like for example, for Jellytime, let's say we want to find inspiration on what are the next trends, or a campaign, then it has intention.
Okay.
But honestly, I love mindlessly scrolling too. When I'm in traffic, I'm waiting. That's okay for me, but it just has to be limited. Like sometimes when I see my usage like 5 hours on Instagram, I'm like, oh my God, that's a lot.
I am actually the same too. And I try to limit it.
Yeah.
I saw this thing where you're supposed to be creating more than consuming.
Nako, yeah. And you're a creator pa. We're creators, so we need to be creating.
Do you feel like when you get older, your priorities change?
Definitely. I think when I was young, as I said a while ago, I was very callous with money. I just wanted to always... Parang I thought that money was... I always put my needs first. That's what I meant.
Okay.
So my priority changed in a sense that now it's not my needs first. It's my kids, my family, and how do we plan for the future. When you're younger kasi, you don't think of that as much. It's more of like, okay, where are we eating tonight? What bottle are we getting tonight?
No, for sure.
Diba? And then lalo na if you're young and then you get contracts and you get, you get this kind of lump sum of money, you're just like, how can I spend this? But now that you're older, you prioritize things like health insurance, medical insurance,
car insurance. Is there someone that taught you this, or like did you just learn it along the way?
No, my mom taught me it, but I would never wanted to listen to her. And then now I'm like, yeah, oh my God. I'm like my mom. I'm like, turn off the aircon when you guys leave the room. Diba? You know that. I'm sure your parents...
I'm guilty of that too.
My just leave it open. Okay na kasang init para when I come in, naka-aircon pa rin. Nako now, no na talaga. Ang taas ng electricity now. So... I've just basically you turn into what you hate about your parents, and then
oh my goodness,
and then diba, in the end you're like, wag mo sayakin yung food. My gosh, that's so expensive. That broccoli is like 500 pesos.
Eat your food. You know how many children want to eat?
Yeah,
oh my God, I'm gonna turn into my mom. Sorry, Mom.
So so definitely as you grow older, I think your priorities change and you're not as affected by what society or outside is pushing on you. You're just more confident in what you know is important.
Speaking of outside, let's say society.
Factors, yeah.
Yeah, so factors. Belle, you have achieved so much. You're, don't make that face. You're an actor, businesswoman, now a
What else?
mother.
Yes.
So many different things. I love the work you do for OFWs.
Oh, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
no, super.
Oh my gosh, by the
I
way,
have
you
been
need to
stalking.
be, you need to be my guest for the next one.
For the next one, we have a funny story there. No, but like she's achieved so much. And the first time I saw her, I remember, was like in my college days. I saw you on like a Cosmopolitan cover.
Yes.
That was the first time I was like, oh, pretty. Basta,
Aw,
ganda,
sweet.
ganda ako. Then I remembered, okay, she's the daughter of Gloria Diaz. How was it growing up with her as a mother?
I think that there was a lot of pressure when it comes to beauty when she would introduce me to people. You know, and I was very much very nene growing up. I had braces, I wore glasses, like not the epitome of that. So, but my mom was always very supportive of me, and I will say that it was critical growing up about how we looked. She always wanted us to be presentable. But there are a lot of benefits. Like I'm a Nepo baby and I love it.
I love it. You're a self-admitted Nepo baby.
Like
was
embrace
there
it.
any pressure to like also be in the spotlight when you were growing up, or were you inspired with her? I mean, how was it?
Yeah. Growing up, I think people always expected me to join beauty pageants.
Yeah.
And expected me to be an artista, to follow in her footsteps. But I wanted to go against people's expectations. So I really tried to go the opposite way. You probably don't know this, but I finished education. So I studied to be a teacher, and then I went back to school and I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied human biology for 2 years in LaSalle. And and at one point, my dorm, my friends, my classmates would be like, I'd be like, what are you doing this weekend? Sabi nila, mag-aaral lang kami. I'm like, I'm going out, I'm partying, di ko kaya mag-aral, like that. So there was then a realization that, okay, maybe this isn't for me. And then I got a call by Miss Annette Gozon, who wanted me to host a show with Manny Pacquiao. And I was like, I'm there.
What age was this?
I was around 22, so I was quite late.
Okay.
I was offered a few shows before when I was 16, 17, 18.
And you never accepted it.
I didn't accept it because my mom would never allow me to do that, because for her, like, education is first. I guess also because she didn't finish. So she wanted something for me to fall back on. Parang,
Okay.
yeah. So I finished that, and then I was like, yes, show me the money. That's what I want to do. Yun.
But you studied in, am I right?
LaSalle. Yeah, I studied in LaSalle. And then when I graduated, I accepted the offer from GMA. And then I hosted the show. It's called Manny Many Prizes with Manny Pacquiao. And then I did several shows. I did one with Gerald Anderson, Nathaniel. And
was it like an easy transition, or like was it smooth, or was there like any special treatment you think, or like did you have to work your way?
Showbiz back then in 2000, I think it was 2010, it was a very different industry because we had GMA, we had ABS-CBN. It was a duopoly. And then, GMA had their biggest stars and ABS had their biggest stars, and we were always kind of competing.
Yeah.
And I was new and I didn't really know anybody in the industry. But I had to prove myself. There were a few people that were there to, teach me, offer some good advice on how to survive. One thing that I think was great for my career was I hosted Eat Bulaga for 4 years, 3.5 to 4 years. And that really taught me how to be on my toes. Because I'm sure you've seen it.
Because you have to be spontaneous during these, what you call this, noontime. It was a noontime show.
It was a noontime show. It still is.
It still is. It's still alive.
Yeah. And I was learning comedy from, different people veterans.
And I think that's the hardest because you have to be smart. You have to think on your feet.
I think
it's Tagalog.
It's very Tagalog. Although I spoke Tagalog growing up. I'm fluent naman.
Okay.
But people had this idea that I didn't know how to speak Tagalog. And then when I went on Eat Bulaga, it was a massive change for like my career. And I feel like I got more opportunities there because people got to see a side of me that they never saw. And honestly, I just had fun. I loved waking up and going on set and just laughing. And I still am friends with the people there today.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
But what about showbiz?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about it? Would you want to do more in showbiz? And like, how do you balance showbiz and personal life?
So the last show I did was in this 2022.
Okay. Pre-pandemic?
Wag na natin i-mention. I'm kidding. Pre-pandemic. Yeah, actually it was during the pandemic. We had a bubble and then it aired end of 2022 to 2023 and then I got pregnant. So I took a sabbatical and then now I'm back to my weight because in showbiz, alam na natin, if you're not a certain weight, then it's very difficult for you to get work. I'm still open to showbiz, but I can commit to as much as what I did before where it's like...
You think it's the taping, the filming schedule? Because honestly, even me thinking about like, how was I able to do that?
Diba?
21 hours on set, just waiting. Honestly, I don't think I can
do that right now.
I thought I had like 2 more series in me. But thinking about it, maybe I'd rather do film. Because film, medyo nakakontrol mo pa yung oras mo.
Yes.
Series? Ooh, I'm not sure.
I mean, I did a series... I don't know if you probably know this, but I did a series in 2016 with Zanjo Marudo and Christine Reyes. And that was like a year and a half of my life. Talagang I just gave it to the series. I was so burnt out, but it's called Tubig at Lagis.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, and I was so burnt out because it was so physically and emotionally demanding that after that, I didn't want to see another camera ever because we were hand to mouth, meaning we had to film and the next day or sometimes that day it would
and then it would
air that day.
The next day.
And then sometimes it's 26 sequences, 23 is me crying or me getting slapped. I'm like, oh my gosh. But when you're young and you know you have it in you, you go for it. I was so privileged that I got that opportunity. It was something that I learned so much from. Now that I'm in my 30s, I have children. It's not necessarily my priority now. And thankfully we have social media that gives us another revenue.
No, that's so
income,
true.
diba?
That's so true. And we get to what do you call this?
We get to choose the work that we do.
We get to choose the work. We get to control the image that's being put out. The content, the quality. We get to control.
It's like we have our own little media channels now.
No, that's so true.
Wait, super random fact, but did you know you did Avon before?
Oh my goodness.
Lala Flores told me this and I was like, what?
Oh my God. I really forgot. It just popped in my head.
Yes.
But, okay, so before
you joined the pageants.
Before I was even anything. I was doing commercial.
Yes, commercial modeling.
Commercial modeling. I was attending all these VTRs, and one of my
there's no shame in that.
I booked an Avon job. And oh, okay, yay, thank you. Like Avon, yeah, it's a big thing. I want to be like in the catalog or something. So I go to this job for.
What?
Do you know what my job was? I was the stand-in for Belle. I was Belle's stand. I didn't even shoot, guys. Like, did you know the model to test the light before?
Yeah. I didn't naman know.
I forgot.
It was Lala Flores who told me. She's like, hindi mo kilala si Kylie because this was before.
I honestly forgot about this.
And she's like,
flashback
and Lala Flores at that time was working with Avon.
Did she even do my makeup?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Have makeup then because I was just a stand-in.
Yeah. But look at you now.
I honestly forgot about this, guys. Yeah. So I was like I was a stand-in model.
You were my stand-in model, and there's no shame in that.
Honestly,
you were working hard. And look at you now. You're so successful.
Guys, we are going to climb that ladder no matter what
You
it
have
takes.
much more followers than me, like 100. I don't know, like how many do you have? Like 7 million or something? So this is a beautiful story, right?
Actually, that's so true. Guys, dream big.
Yeah, dream big. Why not?
But aside from that, did you know? I was, oh my God, it's like getting flashbacks in my head. But I was also like an extra for this like Mang Inasal commercial and
really
like Angel Locsin.
Wow.
It's just one trigger. Parang sabi ko, gusto ko magpa-retouch.
Yeah.
And then he goes like, bakit? Extra ka lang. And I felt so offended. I'm like, you know what? And Angel was next to me and I'm like, you know, one day it's gonna be me in that chair. Like one day it's gonna be me in that chair and you're gonna retouch my hair every take.
Yeah.
Pero that time talaga, like I wanted to cry because my makeup was shit.
Yeah.
Of course, you don't want to be like the prettiest there. Like you have to allow the star to shine.
Ganon.
So those were like...
But no, but you know what? If you meet
Humble
Angel, she's such a sweet person. I'm sure
I love
she
her
would have
to
let
death.
you use
I
her makeup
super
artist.
love
She's
her
so
to
sweet.
death.
That also fueled you. Diba? You were like, that is gonna make me work harder.
Don't you think anger fuels you? Because it
Yeah.
honestly fuels me.
Yeah,
Is it a girl thing, or is it like? Is it? Do you think it's like
It motivates
I don't
us
know.
to get to that place and command that respect.
For example,
So you should
let's-
thank that makeup artist.
I'm gonna think that
My
makeup
artist.
artist. Funny enough, like I didn't think of anything. I was like, oh, I have a job for Avon. They're paying well.
Intimate
And then
apparel
I
pa
see,
yun.
yeah, and then I see like Belle. I really had probably no idea who like celebrities were, but like, oh, Belle Daza. I remember like you had your nails, and that's all I knew. And then
I was having my nails done on set because it was so pangit pa. But no, Avon Intimates was my first big campaign where I was naka bra and panty.
I'm so glad to be part of your first
I
big
know.
campaign.
It was such a like milestone because I never thought anyone would book me for how I looked like body wise. And I was so sad when they dropped me because my manager back then had like a problem with them and they thought I was a diva. So that's another story. But I still like support
Do you
Avon.
think you were ever a diva?
I've definitely actually I don't know. That one time is they were fitting a dress on me that felt so uncomfortable. This is why they dropped me. I was fitting a dress that was so uncomfortable. I was like, I can't wear this tutu. It's so itchy, it's so heavy. And so it was like I complained. Because the day we were wearing it for this huge event was the only fitting we had. Ayun. Chugi. But okay lang. Okay lang. I use that as a, oh my God, no, I have to learn para to work with people and what clients
Sometimes
want.
you really just have to say yes and
Yeah.
like put your ego aside.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's how you usually start showbiz? Like you really have to like, oh, I really have to say I started from the bottom.
Yeah.
The bottom.
Ako, I didn't
Now
naman-
we're here.
Yeah, started from the bottom. Now we're here. Ako, I'm so lucky because I didn't get to start from the bottom. I didn't have to in a sense because I'm a Nepo baby.
I
Yes.
watched one of your videos. You are now training for the Tokyo Marathon.
Yes.
How
I
is
don't know.
it? Like, what made you decide to want to torture yourself?
It's, yeah, I ask myself that every day.
Like, how? Honestly, I full respect runners,
Wala-
triathletes.
yeah.
I just do it for fun, but to
Yeah.
run a marathon,
It's
take
too
me
much.
through the whole process.
No, so my husband and my cousin Georgina were like, we're going to sign up for the Tokyo Marathon. You should join us. It's going to be really fun. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. But I didn't really know.
Is this your first marathon?
It's my first ever.
Okay.
Diba?
Okay.
So I said yes without knowing what it entails. So today I did sprint and I was dying. I wanted to, every time I run, I want to quit. So it's like it's a mental thing also. But you work out a lot also.
I work out a lot, but
You train
like,
with Arnold.
I train with Arnold. Hey Arnold, we were supposed to meet today.
Shout
but
out.
I told him you were busy.
Oh no, you canceled last minute.
No, I didn't cancel. I did not agree.
Yeah, okay, okay.
I didn't agree to train today because I said we had work, but I think tomorrow we're gonna train.
That's good. That's a start.
That's a good
Have you
start.
always been sporty or did you just start working out recently?
So my dad my family owned a gym when
Oh wow.
when we were a teenager. So it's always been in me. Like
Yes.
I always try to find the gym. Speaking of, let's say, people who say, payat mo na, how do you handle bashers?
Minsan I reply, gago ka eh.
Me also. Oh my God, hindi ka naman maganda.
Perfect ka eh.
Stop
Ganon.
it.
So, sarap patulan minsan. And then sometimes I just think to myself that you can't receive all this love without the hate.
True.
Yeah. So,
Like you gotta have thick skin
yeah.
most of the time.
And also, why would you zero? It's hard to say it, but don't zero in on that one negative thing. We look at all the other positive.
Don't you think a lot of, because let's say me, I always get bashed with my body. People say I'm too skinny,
What?
I'm too this. Always, all the time.
Oh my
All the time.
gosh.
Whether I gain weight,
Inggit lang
whether I
sila.
lose weight.
Yeah.
They always say like I'm too skinny or ganito ganyan.
They always have something to say.
Even though I do all these things and eat healthy, I've been pescatarian for 5 years already. They're still gonna say I look dry because I love getting a tan now. Like I love going to the sun, and just because I'm not white, they say I look dry or skinny or sickly or
People are so epal.
no.
Yeah.
Like,
If I don't reply really meanly,
do you have moments where you just want to reply? Ako, when I'm up 2 a.m. onwards, then you're gonna get a reply from me. When I'm like busy, okay, but like 2 a.m. onwards, when
Trolls.
That's when you're gonna receive a reply.
You know what? Sometimes you need to reply, and sometimes you need. But again, I did a series before, like on reading mean comments and bashers, and it was really funny because like have to take it with our job. It comes with a job. Baka you're doing something wrong if wala kang basher.
Or they just don't care about you. So
Yeah, maybe.
keep them coming, guys.
Exactly. So you're staying relevant.
Oh, I have a funny story with like Jellytime.
Tell me.
You sent me well, Jellytime and then the sex toys.
Yeah, chinchilla, the bobble.
Every time it's like, oh my God, how am I gonna post this? But anyway, I posted. So one time I'm asking our maid, Sandy, like, Sandy, can you please look for the Apple Pencil? Because I wanna write on my iPad because sometimes I write notes there. And then she's like, ito ba ma'am? And then she sends me a picture of the biggest dildo ever. I wish I had the screenshot. I'm gonna try to like attach it.
The deuce.
Yeah, she sends me that. I'm like, oh my God, Sandy, hindi yan. How do I tell her? It's like
Hindi yan
a
Apple
sex
Pencil.
toy.
Ibalik mo yan sa drawer ko. Doon sa kanan.
It wasn't even used, guys. But like, she sent me the picture of the biggest dildo. I'm like,
that is hilarious.
It's not that. Sabi ko, hindi yung mas maliit. And she's like, okay, ma'am. So, well, God bless her.
I love her.
I don't think, I'm gonna try.
Give it to her na. Teach her how to use it. Para magamit na niya.
I'm gonna try to see if I was trying to look for it earlier, the screenshot she sent, but in the end, she found me the Apple Pencil. But
she's so funny.
Okay, wait. What about relationships? How did you know like someone is cheesy, but like someone is the one?
How did I know my husband, Adrian, was the one? I think throughout our whole relationship, I never thought about breaking up with him, even though.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, we had ups and downs. Like breaking up was never an option. In my
really
past
like
relationship, kasi it's like it's done. We're you know what I mean? Like you threaten na parang over. We should break up. It was a bit more childish, I guess. But this one, it was always like, okay, how angry we were, how do we work through it? How do we become friends? That was always the goal. But also, I guess I just saw how he treated his mom. It's so cheesy.
Oh, that's so nice.
He treated his mom and his grandmother like the first time I went to France, and he doesn't do it for show or to impress me. He was just like, I'm gonna go to the market, and I was like, why? He was like, I'm gonna buy my grandmother flowers, and it's very a cultural thing in France to just buy flowers for people in the market or people they love. So I thought that was so cute, and it was just so ordinary for him. And I love that he just treated them with respect. He gave them time. It wasn't even like, it was giving them time that they were important people in his life.
That's so beautiful.
I thank you. What about you? How do you know that he's the one? Because you've been together for 2 years.
We've been together for 2 years. I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. Well, there's another year, but let's see.
Well,
I hope so. Maybe it comes with age, but also
he's
probably
different.
wanting
It's different
to
from your past relationships.
It's very, very different from my past relationships.
Culturally, he's also
What
not
else?
in your industry. He's not in showbiz.
Yeah, oh my God, you're putting me on the spot. Like,
Sorry,
I'm
okay.
getting-
Sorry. No, I mean, but what I'm saying is like it's a very different relationship to when you were with somebody who was
in showbiz.
In showbiz.
No, I realized how peaceful it is now. There's no pressure.
Yes.
Like we've been together for 2 years now, and it's honestly been the best time of my life.
And I think that's also why you are so protective. Diba? You don't want to
Yeah.
show it because parang this is mine lang. Everything else you have to show.
It's not that I'm gatekeeping or something, but like it's something that, I already share so much about my life and the people around me. But like this is
Private.
ours.
And that's okay.
Mine.
Yeah, that's true. That's okay. And maybe that's what also makes you guys work so well.
No, that's true. But like everyone else, my family knows him, my workmates, my partners, everyone.
They met him na.
Yeah, everyone. Like I'll go ahead and introduce him, but like just on socials,
Yeah.
for everyone else to see, I don't feel like there's a need
Yeah.
to show him.
Yeah, and I love
Yet.
that. No, and I love that. That's
Maybe
that's
when he
true.
proposes.
So I'll tell you a tip there. You have to go on his Instagram or go on his like Safari or Chrome.
Size.
Yeah, exactly.
Tiffany.
Exactly. Tiffany or Lauren B Jewelry or JJ Jiao here. Take him there.
Emerald cuts, oval cuts.
Diba?
Alam ko na yung size.
Wait, we're
6
joking,
carats.
but it's really true.
Really?
Yeah. Me, I really pressured my husband. I'm like, these are the cuts I like.
Really? So like the Siri helps, or like you told him? How
Both.
do you start asking?
No, I sent him like cuts of rings that I like. And I would just openly be like, no, we're going to get married in this now. I'm not ready now, but in like 1.5 years.
But like, was he already bringing it up? Like, was it already in talks or?
So funny story. We were at a beach trip, and then my cousin-in-law, Arthur, who Georgina's married to, had just met Georgina, and they started dating for like 5 months or 6 months. And then he kind of was like, I already have a ring. And I'm like, Arthur, you cannot, in front of Adrian, I was like, you cannot propose to George. I've been together with Adrian for 7 years. There's no way you guys have literally been together for 4 months. And so in front of there, I was like, when are you proposing? But not when are you proposing? But when I said that, Adrian just was like, okay, she does want me to propose. But in showbiz kasi before, I was 28 then, parang it's a taboo for a leading lady to get married.
Yeah,
it's
they
like
say
wala ka
your
ng leading
career
lady
goes
roles.
Down after you get engaged or something, which I think is kind of wrong.
Yeah, so I also was torn there. I'm like, do I want to get engaged and put my career on the side? I was like, yes, I do, because parang that's what matters to me, my life.
At least you were honest about it.
Yeah, my life. And then if other roles came, then why not? Yeah, so I guess that's also something you guys have to think of when you're doing films and stuff. Because there is a taboo. If a guy is married, okay lang.
But if a girl,
parang matanda na yan.
Because they say the desirability factor goes down, and which you need, let's say, especially if you're trying to build a career. But let's say in the US, it's not like that.
Not at all.
I feel like if you are married with kids, you are more trustworthy as a person.
And I think it's also very merit driven. So if you acted really well in a movie, then they'll keep getting you, regardless if you have 5 kids, 3 kids, or whatever.
Yeah, because here I feel like it's the whole personality. What role you play is who you are.
Yeah.
People think you are in public and private.
Yeah. But hopefully we can change that. You know what I mean?
Slowly, because we can control now.
Yeah.
What is one belief you've had in, this one I just didn't ask, but like what is one thing you had, like a belief in motherhood you had before that is not what you thought it was now?
My mom growing up told me it's easier to say yes than no. And I didn't understand that. I was like, what are you talking about? It's not easier to say yes. And then now that I have kids, if they want to watch on the iPad, or if they want bubble gum, or if they want to do something like buy a new toy, it's so easy to say yes, because that will keep them quiet, that will buy me time, that will allow me to do something else. It's so much harder to put a boundary and say no. Like you cannot, watch on the screen while eating, or you cannot buy a new toy every day. I'm still struggling with that because it's so much easier to keep them entertained by doing that.
But don't you think it also applies in like real life? It's so much easier to say yes than no.
Yes, 100%.
I read this thing where you're not an expert until you know how to say no.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've been guilty that I don't know how to say no. Saying no is just like...
Saying no.
Honestly, when you say no, I think people will even respect you more.
Yes. And saying no is saying yes to yourself. So if you're listening to this and you're like, somebody invites you to an event now you don't want to go and you're like dreading, you're like, be traffic, I have to think of an outfit.
I'm really more picky to the events I attend, to the people I spend my time with.
Yeah. And then you just say no. And then you'll be happier when you say no.
I am so happy. I say no to a lot of things.
Diba? You just have to say, saying no to somebody else is saying yes to yourself.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
But guys, thank you, Belle. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been our first SOLÁ podcast. We're really, really thankful that you're part of it. And thank you so much for saying yes and being our first guest.
Thank you for listening to me. I hope I didn't talk too much, guys.
No,
you can
not
forward
at all.
the parts that are boring.
We are gonna make sure it's very, very interesting. But guys, it doesn't end here. I will also be guesting at the Jellytime.
The Sexy Time podcast.
The Sexy Time podcast. So I'm not sure which is gonna come out first.
Yeah.
This will be Valentine's. Oh, happy Valentine's Day, guys.
Happy Valentine's Day. What are your plans? Or are you going to surprise him or he surprises you?
He usually oh my God, Valentine's is so close to my birthday. So I feel like, I hope he sends me a gift.
So alam nyo na, send it to him, the link. Scroll to the end.
What about you? What are your plans for Valentine's?
I think
Jellytime. Jellytime is
it's Jellytime. Yes, let's do it. Yeah, Jellytime. Yeah. It's become a verb. Parang when people see it like, oh, it's Jellytime. So Jellytime, yes, one, but also I want to have like quality time with him. I want to have like a nice dinner out and dress up because sometimes real life gets too real. So that's it.
Do you try out Jellytime products?
Why do you think I have 3 kids? From our R&D. It's perfecting the formula, man.
I love it. He has been very, very involved in Jellytime.
That's
diba?
That's actually his involvement. Tinatry niya yung product.
But Belle, thank you so much for doing this with us.
Thanks for having me and more power to you guys. I love the products you're creating.
Thank you so much. We're gonna send you the different collections. This is the hugging collection.
Yes.
But I want you to try the sculpting collection.
Okay. Sige, I'm game.
Yeah.
I'm open to receiving the sculpting collection.
Thank you so much, guys. That has been the SOLÁ podcast. This is episode 1, and stay tuned for more.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya.